Hi, Lianna here. So thanks for swinging by and checking out my first vlog. Anyone that follows me on Facebook saw last week that I did mention that I was going to start blogging again, and you can check out my blog below this video here. And I thought the perfect subject to kick it all off with would be courage. And the reason I picked this topic is because last week when I did that short video, it's just a couple of minutes long, boy did that take a lot of courage for me to do, and it took a lot of self-talk to kind of make myself do it. I have no idea where this voice came from all of a sudden. Before I actually did the video, I thought it was a great idea. I was more than comfortable doing it. And then when the time came to doing the video, I just started panicking. And that little voice piped up telling me, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? You're going to look so silly. Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. So it took me about 3 attempts. I had about 20 minutes to do it in because I had to get back to my car and I had to go and pick my son up from preschool. And I literally spent that 20 minutes back and forward battling in my head and coming up with all the reasons why it's not a good idea for me to put myself out there and do this. Take 2 minutes out of my life, out of my whole life to make myself feel a little bit uncomfortable to do a little video. And it really was because it was just in a public place and I was just fearing what other people might think of me. But ultimately, once I did the video, of course, I felt fantastic. And anybody watching this and has done something that stepped out their side of their comfort zone, you know, plucked up the courage to actually do something, you know, you always feel amazing after. And I can assure you the rest of the day I was on such a high. I was really buzzing just from putting myself out there and beating that little demon on my shoulder and shutting it down and saying, no, hang on, I am going to do this video. You know, I felt great. I was late for my car, and but I was on time to pick my son up, so that was a bonus. But really, how many opportunities on a daily basis do we miss out on because of this voice that takes over and that we listen to? You know, every single day I'm sure we all have to pluck up the courage to do something, whether it's tell your boss at work you're not going to make that deadline, tell your partner something that you've been putting off for ages, or a family member, send an email to somebody that you've been putting off. You know, whatever it is, you know, there's always an opportunity throughout the day where you have to pluck up the courage and say, no, come on, I'm going to do this. But then sometimes that voice just takes over and we do listen to it and we completely put it off. So I'm just going to share a couple of tips that I do and something brilliant that I've picked up recently that I have been putting into practice, and it really does work. So what I like to do is I get my journal out. I've got so many notebooks all over the place for various different things, but I like to write down what it is, those negative thoughts that I'm telling myself at that moment. And when I see it in black and white, what it does for me is it makes me see, okay, I've written this down. This is what I'm telling myself at this moment in time. Is it true? Actually, no, it's not. And most of the time, probably all of the time actually, because, you know, a negative thought is very rarely true. It's very rarely the voice of reason for a start. But, you know, those negative thoughts that come into my head, and when I actually see it written down and telling myself that this actually isn't true, there is no factual evidence backing these thoughts up in my head, I instantly feel better about myself. It's almost like a little dose of, okay, that's not true. Let's just move on from that. Okay, it's fine. But it's also a great way to kind of pick up when you are having those negative thoughts. You know, especially for us women, there are certain times and months where we do feel a little bit more fragile and a bit more negative about life. That's a fact. So when you start writing it down, you can see whether there's a pattern occurring. So I find this really, really helpful. So that's something that I, you know, pass on to you that really helps me. And the lady that I've been following lately, I find her massively inspiring. I'm learning so much by her. She's called Brené Brown. She's absolutely amazing. Her TED Talk alone has had over 4 million views. I've just ordered one of her books and I already can't wait to get the others. And I've just already learned so much, and it's probably because I've become obsessed. I'm just on YouTube constantly watching her videos, making notes and just learning so much and just absorbing everything that she's basically putting out there for us. But it was a great tip, and she says it's really about acknowledging that voice. So what I've been doing is just telling myself, okay, I hear you, I've got it, I'm gonna do it anyway, but thank you. And it's instantly shutting that voice down. And it's almost like I can see that little person on my shoulder going, hang on a minute, like where did this come from? You know, normally we just pack away here and we just, you know, down tools, and you listen to me, you know it's not a good idea, it was not going to go any further than this. But by shutting that voice down, it's kind of just like saying, okay, yep, thank you very much for taking care of me, because ultimately that voice is just there to protect us. Well, that's what it thinks it's doing. It thinks it's protecting us from putting ourselves out there and making ourselves feel vulnerable. But by shutting it down, it just instantly makes you feel so much more better, a bit more empowered, you know, great about what you're about to do, and off you go and you do it. And when you do it, like I said in the beginning, you always feel fantastic after. And that's a feeling that surely you want to go out and find a lot more often. And the more you put yourself out there, the more you have that feeling and the more you want to do it. So I hope those little tips help you as well. Definitely check out Brene Brown. She's absolutely brilliant, and she's got loads of books on, you know, this amazing subject here of courage and feeling vulnerable, and, you know, just having a bit more, raising your self-esteem basically. So I hope you took a little bit of value away from this video, and I hope you enjoyed reading my blog, and I'm really looking forward to kind of sharing lots more things that I'm passionate about. Okay, thanks for stopping by and have a great day.